Psychology is a broad area of study that not a lot of people understand. Today I'm going to be presenting on what cognitive psychology is. For a general definition, psychology is the study of mind and behavior. Cognitive psychology is a subset of this general description. Cognitive psychology not only helps explain how we make the decisions that we do, this form of psychology also helps prevent further roadblocks in our mind to help with the understanding and efficiency. According to American Psychologists Association, cognitive psychology is a study of higher mental processes such as attention, language use, memory, perception, problem solving, and thinking. So, how do we use cognitive psychology? So, take for example that you just came home from school and you're so ready to work on your homework. You sit down, you're motivated, you get your homework out, but you just can't seem to focus. No matter what you do, you get distracted by something around you. You try to change your environment, but day after day, you just lose focus and motivation to do your homework. A cognitive psychologist can come in and help analyze your environment to help you understand how to work on your homework more efficiently. Take, for example, the posters on your wall. You might not think that they're very distracting, they've been there for years, but a cognitive psychologist can come in and analyze the use of colors or images on the poster and come to the conclusion that they are distracting. While your eyes may be focusing on your computer, they also take in the colors around you and the images around you, which can be distracting as they work in the background. Another area that a cognitive psychologist might look at is the amount of exhaustion that you've used throughout the day. You've been at school for several hours, working, playing, talking with friends. So when you come home from school, you may not realize how tired your brain actually is. So when you sit down to do your homework, your brain is exhausted. It wants a break, but you keep pushing it. So you aren't able to take in as much information as you normally would if you took a nap, took a break to talk with family casually, or just played a sport. One other area that a cognitive psychologist can look at is just the cleanliness of your room. Like the poster example, your room is a common place to your brain and to your body. But the things around you on the floor, on the walls, are very distracting as it causes your brain to work in the background. While you may be focusing on what's on your computer screen, your brain is also taking in everything around you. So while cognitive psychologists not only analyze your environment and your efficiency in your working, they also look at various other areas of how your brain works. One of these areas is perception. Perception focuses on how your eyes see something and then how your brain translates it. Take, for example, you have an apple. Your eye takes in that it's red and round, but how does your brain understand that it's not a bouncy ball? While your eye translates the color, the shape, and the different textures, your brain then takes those signals and helps you understand that it is an apple. One other area is learning. We talked about doing your homework in your bedroom and your environment, but learning can also be seen in a classroom. Learning is how new information is presented and the conditions the learner is in while studying. A teacher can take this type of psychology and focus it into how they arrange their classroom. They may arrange the desks differently so that every student can see the board. They may put it into groups if they realize that group work is most effective for their students. They can also look at the things on the wall, the images, the colors, how big graphics are, to see if a student is more likely to read those instead of paying attention to the teacher. Another area that is really interesting in a classroom is lighting. If the lighting is too bright, it can cause headaches and distraction. But if the lighting is too dark, it can cause the student to become tired, or it can even cause your brain to work twice as hard trying to focus on what's on the board rather than become drowsy. One last area that I'm going to talk about is problem solving. Problem solving is how we focus on goal-setting behavior. Do you ever have a chore that you just hate to do? You don't want to do it, but you know that you need to, but you can't seem to find the motivation. Well, if your parent goes and says, clean up your room, you're not really apt to go clean up your room. But if they say, let's see how quickly you can clean up your room, you find a new motivation for doing that same exact chore. This area of study is really interesting because it's not only in the chores that we have to do from day to day, but it can also be seen across our lifespan. We may set a goal for ourselves in 20 years. And so cognitive psychologists can come back and see what was the true motivation behind setting that goal. Was it to have a better career in 20 years, to make more money, or was it something more personal and that's why we kept working towards the goal? Overall, psychology is a very broad area of study, but cognitive psychology is very interesting because it narrows down into our behavior patterns and our decision making. It's not only helpful for the here and now and focusing on how we can focus better on our schoolwork, but it's also interesting because it can show across our lifetime what motivates us in our decisions. And these are 2 audience members that I have.